In the vast, silent tapestry of our world, there exist places where the veil between the known and the unknowable thins, places that seem to possess an almost sentient hunger. One such place lies hidden beneath the Earth's surface, a labyrinth of water and rock known by those who dared to plumb its depths as the Serpent's Coil Cavern. Elias Thorne knew this hunger. He understood the pull of the deep, the silent promise of discovery that only the most audacious cave divers truly comprehend. For years, the submerged passages of the world had been his solace, his challenge, his profound, dark sanctuary. He was meticulous, methodical, a master of his craft. Every dive was planned with the precision of a military operation. Every piece of equipment checked and rechecked, every contingency considered. On the crisp autumn morning of October 27, 2008, Elias was preparing for what he believed would be just another routine descent into the Serpent's Coil. He stood by the cenote's edge, the air still and cold around him, the surface of the water a mirror reflecting the pale, indifferent sky. Below lay a darkness, a world unto itself. His team, a small, highly experienced crew of support divers and surface personnel, watched as he performed his final equipment checks. His primary goal for the day was to extend a new guideline into a previously unexplored section of the cavern, a passage that locals vaguely referred to as the gullet. He exchanged a brief, reassuring nod with his lead support diver, a man named Ben Carter, before adjusting his twin tanks and checking his rebreather. With a final, almost imperceptible breath, Elias slipped backward into the water, his powerful fins pushing him down into the black maw of the cenote. He was to follow the main line for 300 feet, then break off into the gullet, deploying his own continuous guideline. Communication was via a highly specialized through-water system, but given the depth and complexity of the cavern, it was often intermittent, reserved for critical updates. For the first hour, everything proceeded as planned. Elias checked in at regular intervals, his voice calm, reporting clear visibility and steady progress. He confirmed he had reached the entry to the gullet and was beginning his line deployment. Ben, monitoring from a staging area near the 150-foot mark, felt a familiar calm settle over him. Elias was in his element, a creature of the deep. Then the communication stopped. Not abruptly, not with a burst of static, but with a slow, fading silence. Ben tried to re-establish contact, sending out repeated pings, but the only response was the vast, indifferent hum of the deep. He waited, heart beginning to quicken, for the agreed-upon time Elias was scheduled to begin his ascent. That time came and went. The silence stretched, cold and absolute. Within minutes, the alarm was raised. The specialized cave rescue protocols were immediately activated. Teams from across the region, experts in the perilous art of extreme underwater recovery, converged on the Serpent's Coil. The first priority was to locate Elias. Initial search divers plunged into the murky depths, following the existing guidelines, their powerful lights cutting through the particulate-laden water. They reached the entry to the gullet. Elias's primary guideline was there, meticulously tied off, extending into the darkness, exactly as he would have left it. But it stopped abruptly after only 50 feet. It wasn't broken, it was cut. A clean, deliberate severance. Beyond that point, there was nothing but uncharted blackness. Days turned into weeks. The rescue operation transitioned into a recovery, then into an enduring, agonizing search for answers. The Serpent's Coil had swallowed him whole. What the search teams did find only deepened the mystery. Near the point where Elias's guideline had been cut, they discovered his primary dive reel, meticulously wound, lying on the cave floor. Beside it, his backup light was still attached to his BCD wing, fully functional. A few feet further, half buried in the sediment, was his rebreather unit, an essential life support system, its mouthpiece missing. The most disturbing detail, however, was the absence of Elias's primary cutting tool, a small, sharp knife usually sheathed on his leg. It was never found. Why would an experienced diver cut his own guideline? Why would he abandon his rebreather? And where was the knife used to sever the line? The currents in the gullet were known to be unpredictable, sometimes violent, but they rarely pulled with enough force to strip a diver of their primary gear, much less their very presence. Speculation ran wild within the close-knit community of cave divers. Some posited a catastrophic equipment failure. a sudden implosion, or a rapid loss of consciousness that led Elias to sever his line in a desperate, disoriented attempt to free himself from an unseen entanglement. Others whispered of a profound psychological event, a narcosis-induced panic in the crushing pressure of the deep, leading to self-sabotage. There were those who spoke of the cave itself, its ancient geological formations, its labyrinthine passages, and the occasional, unsettling stories of divers experiencing profound disorientation, a sense of being watched or pulled by an unseen force. Elias had always been so rational, so utterly in control. The idea of him simply giving up or panicking so severely seemed alien to those who knew him best. But the facts remained cold and hard. Elias Thorne had descended into the Serpent's Coil cavern on October 27, 2008. He had planned for every eventuality, prepared for every danger. Yet a part of his equipment was found, his guideline inexplicably severed, and Elias himself simply vanished. There was no body, no final resting place, no trace of what might have become of him. The cenote's dark surface continued to reflect the sky, undisturbed, silent, guarding its terrible secret. The Serpent's Coil cavern remains open, its depths still inviting, still waiting. And somewhere, in its lightless chambers, only the cold, silent water holds the answer to what truly happened to Elias Thorne, the diver who simply ceased to be.